It's time for part 2 of Andrew's challenge. Thank you again, Andrew, for designing this for us. So now we've got a slightly different starting data set where the kind of previous two tables were combined together for us. So we've got all the information about the manager's salary and their start and end dates. We still need to work out kind of the end date. We still need to update that to be a date field and have that current date set to the 12th of June this time. But with their salary, as their salary gets paid weekly, then we want to make sure that this number gets split up into how much they would get paid each week rather than each year, so that we can do some analysis over how much the company is paying out each year. So let's work out the weekly salary, literally just taking the salary, dividing it by 52 because there are 52 weeks in a year, so that we get that values for each week. And then for the end date, we're doing a very similar thing where we're just going to change it to a date so that that current gets set to the 12th of June if we're doing it on the 12th of June. So we might need to write a calculated field if it's not the 12th of June, but refer to last week's video for more of a breakdown on how we do that. So it fixed the end date there. And now what we need to do is, rather than just taking this salary, working out how many weeks they've been employed and multiplying those values together, that would kind of give us how much they've earned in the entirety of their employment. But that's not going to be super useful for finding out for each year how much the company has paid out. So we need a row really for each time they get paid that salary, so that we can use our date fields to then work out for each year how much are the managers getting paid, and so on and so forth. So let's do that. So we add in a new row for each week for each employee that they've been employed. So between the start date and the end date, we're just naming this new field week, and we're having a new row for each week. And we need to make sure the values are being copied from the previous row there. So this has kind of exploded our data set quite a lot. So we've now got around 7,341 rows. And so we can just see here, for example, Pablo Prep, their first week is the 20th of July 2008. Then the next week they get paid on the 27th of July, that amount then. Okay, so then for the first output, we're just going to do an aggregate step where we group by the week start. So of course, remember, people could have started on different days of the week, so we want to group together all of the different weeks there, and then we're summing up the salary so that we know how much money got paid out each week. So if you're not familiar with how to do that with the week, so rather than, if I remove this for a second, so rather than just using group and having a grouping like this would give us over 3,000 rows, and we kind of see an issue in the middle here where we've got all these dates which are surely within the same week. So rather than just grouping it like that, we can group by the level of the week start instead, and that will give us only 830 rows, and our salaries get summed up together. And then this is looking a little bit messy, so we'll just round the salary to clean up that a little bit. So do the salary rounded to 2 decimal places, and then rename that field to be salary payments there. Lovely. So that's the first output. For the second output, we want to do a similar thing for that week field. We want to group it at the year level, so this first year here, so that we're getting only 17 rows back and just summing up the total salaries there. Again, we're just rounding that salary to 2 decimal places, and then we're joining on our total expenses table just on the year. We see that we have 2004 excluded, 2024, sorry, since it's an incomplete year, so we don't have all the total expense information yet. So we join those two together, and then we just need to calculate the percentage of how much was spent on the manager's salaries. So we're just doing the expenses, the salary divided by the expenses, timesing it by 100 and rounding it to 1 decimal places. So in 2008, 2.9% of expenses of the company went on manager salaries, but it has been as high as 20.6 in 2020. So we just remove the unnecessary fields, and then we're ready to do this second output as well. So thank you again to Andrew for those 2 challenges. Very interesting to work through, and thanks very much for watching.